Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Schellenberger Field on Jack M. Tom's track for the 2022 Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic. My name is Brennan Straits. I'm a senior on the track and cross country program here at Lynchburg, and I'll be taking you through the distance events this evening. So, for the people back at home that are tuning in at the moment, we are about to begin the first event of the evening, which is the women's 1500 as they're assembling on the far end of the track. But a little bit about the Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic and the history of this meet. It was first established last year after the passing of Lynchburg alum Coach Dennis Craddock, who has amidst his 44 years of ACC coaching at North Carolina and UVA. The man was inducted into the USTF CCAA Coaches Hall of Fame in the class of 2013. So pretty substantial resume for Coach Craddock. And this meet is in his memory, and we are excited to start it off with distance events this evening. As the women start to take this track for this first section of the women's 1500, we can run through our entrants in this field of 12. We have Logan Funk from Christopher Newport University, Stephanie Burnett from Lynchburg, Molly Silva from Lynchburg, Bailey Reed from Southern Virginia, Jackie Wilson from Lynchburg, Lauren Massey from Lynchburg as well, joined by teammates Krista Packer and Kelsey Lagunas. We have Kensley Hurley from Christopher Newport, Sasha Willie from Southern Virginia, Eliza Dana from Christopher Newport, and Lily Delbot rounding out this first section of the women's 1500. In this heat, we have school record holder Stephanie Burnett in the women's 5K. She was an indoor qualifier in the 5,000 meters, so excited to see what she can do today. Stepping down in distance from her normal wheelhouse event. And once again, this is section one of the women's 1500 to start off the Dennis Craddock Coaches Invitational, or Coaches Classic, pardon me. This will be the first event of our distance carnival of sorts this Friday evening. So we'll go start short, work our way up, ending with the 10,000 meter tonight. But the ladies are towing the line at the moment. And we're off in this first section of the women's 15. Kelsey Lagunas is out front, and she will be pacing this field through 800 meters, I believe, maybe staying in for a full kilometer. But we'll be able to update you further as the race As you see the ladies from Southern Virginia, Christopher Newport, and Lynchburg making their way down the front stretch. That's once again Lagunas from Lynchburg, setting our pace for this early stages of these races. Lagunas still leading through about 300 meters as the women will approach 400 as they round this far curve. So the ladies around 75 seconds for that first quarter, so around 5 flat mile pace. converted into a 1500 is a little bit below 350. So we'll see how many of these ladies can dip under that 350 mark or 450 mark today. Definitely some looking for that within this field. I know Molly Silva, Logan Funk, and Stephanie Burnett all have run under that previously this season, as well as Bailey Reed from Southern Virginia. So excited to see what these ladies can do in these later stages of this race. Still, that's Lagunas, closely followed by Logan Funk of Christopher Newport in second. About 800 meters left for these ladies as they hit the finish line. They'll have 2 laps remaining. This first heat of the women's 1500. And that's Logan Funk of Christopher Newport as the pace setter Stephanie Lagunas steps off at around 800 meters in. As they approach 900 meters, that's still Funk, closely followed by Burnett and Silva of Lynchburg. It's 600 meters to go. The ladies will around this corner and hit the bell lap. Out front, that's still Funk from Christopher Newport. And they hit the bell in around 3:30. The Lynchburg ladies 2, 3, 4, and 5 right now with back to Jackie Wilson. So these ladies all hit the bell around sub 340, so we'll see what these ladies can close in and see how many of them can get under that 450 mark. Down the back straight, here comes Stephanie Burnett closing in on our leader, Logan Funk from Christopher Newport, as the ladies hit 200 meters to go. That's Funk and Burnett of Lynchburg and Christopher Newport is approaching about 150 left in this race. They round the final curve. 4:47 for Stephanie Burnett is her PR. Let's see how close she can. She's going to smash that today. Maybe even getting under 4:40. Absolutely obliterates her PR. 7-second PR for Stephanie Burnett, rounding in 4:42. 5-second PR, correct me on that. Logan Funk, 4:45 for second. Lauren Massey, 4:50 for third. As the PA announcer just announced, what a way to kick off this race, this day, this meet. So quite the first race for the women's 1500 as the next section's already getting set on that far side. But again, what a race to start this off. So and as the next heat gets on the track, we have Kristen Warner unattached, Allison Shelley from Eastern Mennonite, Haley Mast from Eastern Mennonite, Emma Irvey from unattached, Becca Brown unattached from Liberty, Chloe Martin, Christopher Newport, Ansley Edwards competing unattached, Serena Henderson, UNC Greensboro, Meredith Roberts, UNC Greensboro, JC Allegan from Southern Virginia, Mackenzie Plowman from Shenandoah, and Jessica Falk from Southern Virginia. Rounds out our second section. The entrance in this second section between 10 seconds in our seed time, between 5:10 and 5:19. So look for a tightly packed race again, as all these women's coming in with similar seed times. the sun peeking between the new residence hall, Westover Hall, and Freer Hall as these women's pass first 100 meter of this second heat. As we can see, a lot of these ladies a lot more tightly packed in this second heat than we saw in our first. I do not believe there's a pace setter in this heat, so just straight racing here. But as we approach the first 300 meters, that does look to be Tristan Warner, our fastest entrant out front. Around 60 point for that first 300 as they'll approach the 400 meter mark here in a few seconds. Through that first 400 around 81 seconds, about 5:20 mile pace for all of our American mile people back home. Instead of converting it to 1,500, it's easier to say mile pace sometimes. But as these women approach 200 to go in this second lap, they'll have 2 laps remaining once they reach the finish line. Out front, that's Ansley Edwards and Emma Irvy, both competing unattached, leading this women's second section as they hit 2 laps to go. Ladies have about 900 meters left in this race. 800, correct me. They'll have 700 once they reach the start line. It looks like we still have Irvy and Ansley Edwards running side by side as they approach 1 lap to go. These ladies working well together in this second section of the women's 15, so we'll see what's left. Maybe some fireworks in this last lap. Looks like Irvy has a couple steps on Ansley Edwards in those last couple meters, so they hit the bell with 400 meters to go. We'll see what happens here. And that's Emma Irvy with 300 meters left to go in this second section. She starts to pull away from Ansley. That's still Irvy out front with 200 meters left in this race. As we see a pack start to tightly bunch for second, and it's anyone's game with 200 meters, about 150 left in this race for these ladies. That's an Eastern Mennonite athlete moving up into second as we round this far curve into the finish. Looks like that's Haley Mast from Eastern Mennonite now into second. But up front, it is still Emma Irvy taking this second section, besting her seed time by 4 seconds, getting under that 5:10 mark, the 5:06. And now we have one section remaining in the women's 1500 as they start to assemble back on that far side of the track near Shackelford Hall. As the sun starts to set here on Schellenberger Field, sun will start to tuck behind the new residence hall and be a beautiful evening for track and field as the lights start to come out. But previewing this heat 3, or section 3, we have Vanessa Gardner from Eastern Mennonite, Samantha Chambers from Shenandoah, Emma Nicely from Shenandoah, Leah Venture from Christopher Newport, Anna Fetcher from Unattached, Nyla Lewis from Christopher Newport, Bailey Deaver from Longwood, Sarah Kinka from Christopher Newport, Ashley Brown from an Unattached athlete, Kayla Kicksetter from Shenandoah, Logan Kikema from Roanoke, Abby Kaysen from Roanoke, and Emma Chapman also from Roanoke, rounding out this third section of the women's 1500. And this final section of the women's 1500 is off and running as the ladies round out that first 100 meters. And it looks like that's Vanessa Gardner from Eastern Mennonite out very strong. As she's through 200 around 34, 35 seconds. She'll have 3 laps remaining as she approaches the finish line. Around 55, 56 seconds. Rest of the field coming through behind her. And that's Gardner still in the lead through the first 400. Gardner's coming into this meet with a seed time of 5:20.64, so we'll see how close she can get to that, if not hopefully under. She looks to have a commanding lead at the moment, but she'll have 2 laps remaining as she hits the finish line. That's Gardner still up front with two laps remaining, 800 meters to go. Next time she rounds this corner, she will have 400 left at the bell. She's still closely followed by an unattached athlete and an athlete from Longwood. That would be Bailey Deaver in third. Gardner from Eastern Mennonite is going to have about 600 meters as she hits this 200 mark right here. Soon hit the bell lap. See if she can get a new PR out of this section. That's still Gardner out front as she hits the bell lap up here shortly. Well under PR pace. 3:47 with 1 lap to go. She runs an 80, she'll PR by about 15 seconds. As Gardner hits 300 meters left, closely followed by Bailey Deaver from Longwood, also looking to have a huge PR in second. As both Deaver and an unattached athlete, I believe that's Anna Fletcher, hit 300 left. And that's Gardner coming off the far curve. The clock reads 4:53. She'll get way under her PR as she has less than 100 meters to go. And that's wire to wire for Vanessa Gardner of Eastern Mennonite. And she will get a PR, about 9 seconds under her old personal best. Getting under 5:20 for the first time, 5:11.86 for her official time. From a huge close from Anna Fletcher, our unattached athlete, to run in 5:21. Bailey Deaver also gets under her formal PR of 5:36 to round out our third place finish in 5:24. Now we turn to our men's 1500, as we will have 4 sections in this event, as our men start to get on the back stretch of the track. Some doing their final preparations for this first heat. Couple doing strides, couple stretching, just couple hanging out in the second and third. But to preview this first heat, we have entrants from 3:57 to 4:08. So a couple people within this heat looking to get under that 4-minute barrier for the 1500. So 109 meters shorter than a traditional mile in this 1500-meter race. Previewing this race, we have Aiden McCarthy from Virginia Tech Running Club, Bennett Cups from Bridgewater, Jordan Leon, unattached, Colin Keck from UNC Greensboro, Grant Williams from Lynchburg, Kyle Laufenberger from Lynchburg, Cy Brazier from Southern Virginia, Quinn Meyer from Southern Virginia, Sam Seeger from Longwood, Josh Fretwell from Roanoke, Avery Bryant from Virginia Tech Running Club, and rounding out this first section, John Deary from Christopher Newport University. So excited to see what these gentlemen can do in this first section of 4 for the men's 15. We'll see if anybody can get under that 4-minute barrier for the 1500. It's about 4:18 for a mile, so pretty quick. But this first section should be able to have a couple guys dip under. We'll see how hot these gentlemen get out for the first 300 and be able to gauge it from there. But excited to see what these guys do today. I know a lot of Lynchburg boys are fit and ready to roll, so excited to see what Grant and Kyle can throw down today. Freshman Grant Williams, stoked to see what he can do. So, and this is not the invite section of the mile that will be following this event, where we're having 15 gentlemen run a 1 mile. That will be following that. That's probably one of the keynote events from this evening. So we'll bring you that shortly following these 1500s. But first, we have a stacked heat of the men's 15. So let's sit back and enjoy that one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. Jack M. Toms for the Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic as we're getting ready for the first heat of the men's 1500. Closely following that time order set by Coach Jake Reed and the staff here at the University of Lynchburg. Timetables, results, and start list can be found on blueridgetiming.com. So the schedule for this evening is on there. We have a 7:25 start time Eastern for this men's 1500. It looks like our officials and starters are following that to a T, so hopefully this 1500 event will get set in a couple of seconds, actually. So like clockwork for these officials out here at the University of Lynchburg, pulling the men up to the starting line right at 7:25 as we get underway for this first section of the men's 1500. Immediately out front, that looks like our UNC Greensboro athlete, Colin Kleck, in the bright yellow. Closely followed by Bennett Cups of Bridgewater in second. A lot of these men looking to dip under that 4-minute mark for the 1500. Colin Keck of UNC Greensboro, but that's looks like that's Quinn Meyer of Southern Virginia coming up on his shoulder. He's going to take the lead at one lap or 300 meters in as they approach 300 meters around 50 seconds. I'll try my best to get you guys a 400 split for this, as that kind of makes a little bit more sense than differentiating the 300 splits. Looks like that still Quinn Myers inserted a little bit of a pickup, about 66 seconds to that first 400. Didn't like how slow that kind of went out for the first two, so he made a pace change and decided, why not lead? Still closely followed by Colin Keck of UNC Greensboro, and the rest of the field is right behind that as Kyle Laufenberger of Lynchburg makes a tiny move up into third. A lot of these 1,500 heats will get pretty strewned out. Men following one another, kind of jumping on that train. As they approach 800 meters to go. That's still Quinn Meyer from Southern Virginia. Still tightly bunched. This is anybody's race in this first section of the men's 15. Everybody's still in this one today, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty tight 1,500 heat as these athletes will hit 800 meters. Quinn Myers from Southern Virginia still leading around 2:10 as these men come through the 800. We'll see what these gentlemen can do in the last 700 meters. Looking for some fireworks in the last 6 is my guess. Anybody's race is the men's pro 600 meters left. These last 500 meters are going to be fun to watch, ladies and gentlemen. This is anybody's race. Once again, we have Colin Keck from UNC Greensboro in the lead, but it looks like that's Sam Seeger from Longwood mixing it up. Josh Fretwell from Roanoke also in there as well with 1 lap to go for these gentlemen. Around 3 minutes right at the bell. Colin Keck, Sam Sager, and Kyle Laufenberger, 1, 2, 3 at the moment. That's Sager and Keck. 200 meters left for these gentlemen. Around 3:30. Let's see who can close. Somebody has a chance to get under. That's Colin Keck from UNC Greensboro. We'll see if anybody can dip under 4 minutes. Here comes Kyle Laufenberger. That's Colin Keck from UNC Greensboro. Oh, Colin Keck almost, 60-second last quarter for Colin Keck. 481. Whew. So close, but nevertheless, this first heat of the men's 1500 lived up to expectations. Look at how close these gentlemen are together. Only a couple seconds differentiating these guys today in this first section of the men's 15. Huge last laps. Fireworks in the men's 15. I think these 1500s are setting the tone for the day. So starting off with some pretty hard last laps. It's always fun to see some people kick and really get after it over those final 600 meters. So excited to see what these next couple heats can bring us, as well as the invite mile soon. In this second section, we have Jeremy Allinger, Cameron Belk, Joseph Short, Nicholas Chalakchik from Christopher Newport, Justice Allen from Eastern Mennonite, Mitchell Johnson from Southern Virginia, Alex Daniel from Longwood, Jason Miller from Eastern Mennonite, Denver Norcross from Southern Virginia, Ethan Long from UNC Greensboro, Spencer Connick from UNC Greensboro, and Thomas Guadalupe from Eastern Mennonite. And our first athletes who I did not say schools are from Shenandoah, UNC Greensboro, Southern Virginia, and Christopher Newport. So pretty large grouping of Division III schools, as well as a Division I institution of Longwood in this second section. So pretty sprung out between all three NCAA divisions. These men are waiting the starters' orders on the second heat of the 15. And they're off in this second section. Looks like that's one of our Southern Virginia athletes out front, closely followed by a UNC Greensboro athlete in second. Looks like that's Dawson Denver Norcross from Southern Virginia, bib number 9, followed closely by Cameron Belk from UNC Greensboro in second. Jeremy Allinger from Shenandoah picks up the leading duties as these gentlemen will approach the first 300. Similar around 51, 50 seconds. As around 69 through the first 400, as that's Jeremy Allinger from Shenandoah picking it up once again into the lead as they come down the backstretch. That's Justice Allen from Eastern Mennonite moving into second on the shoulder of Allinger from Shenandoah. So a little ODAC rivalry there potentially. So some friendly faces. These gentlemen see each other a lot throughout the spring and indoor seasons, as well as during cross country. So familiar with racing each other, as well as looks like another Southern Virginia duo in moving into second. That's Mitchell Johnson from Southern Virginia. Once again, another tight pack in this 1500. This is anybody's race as the men approach 2 laps to go, so 800 meters left in this race. Once again, look for some movement around that 600 mark. It'll come about 2:19. Once again, that's Allinger and Justice Allen. Shenandoah and Eastern Mennonite running 1-2. As that's Thomas Guadalupe moving into second. That's Eastern Mennonite at 1-2 right now. Thomas Guadalupe and Justice Allen of Eastern Mennonite as they hit the bell. 3:09 at the bell. We'll see what kind of clothes these gentlemen have in them left, but that's Justice Allen of Eastern Mennonite, followed closely by his teammate Thomas Guadalupe. They'll approach 200 meters to go. Looks like that's Cameron Belk from UNC Greensboro quickly moving into first now with a huge last lap. And that's Belk of UNC Greensboro with a commanding last 200 meters. And Belk will take Section 2 with an official time of 4:11.20. So huge close for Belk. Around a 62 last quarter for him. The field came through around 3:09. In Section 3, we will have Bellamy Emmanuel of Eastern Mennonite, Joseph Morofoso of Southern Virginia, Zach Chapman of Southern Virginia, Kendra Chandler of Southern Virginia, Shamiqua Cromwell from Longwood, Dylan Forrester from Longwood, Matthew Hayden from Lynchburg, Hayden Ashbury from Southern Virginia, Dawson Woodruff from Eastern Mennonite, Logan McHugh from Christopher Newport, Van Fletcher running unattached, and Rual Reyes Sanchez from Southern Virginia rounding out this third section of 4. In this second section, it looks like that's Bellamy of Eastern Mennonite out in front. He's our fastest seed time in this third section. Our only athlete in this section under the seed time of 4:20. Followed closely by his teammate Dawson Woodruff of Southern Virginia, as well as Matthew Hayden of Lynchburg, as these men approach the first first 300 around 51 seconds, so a little bit quicker than some previous heats have even gone through, or right around where our first heat went. So we'll see what these gentlemen come through the first quarter in. Wow, for 68 seconds for that first quarter. It's a couple seconds faster than that last heat went, so we'll see what these gentlemen can do through these later stages of this race. As these athletes start to bunch up, as they're going to have about 800 meters to go once they reach the finish line. A couple athletes from Longwood, EMU, Southern Virginia, and Matthew Hayden from Lynchburg. That's Woodruff of Eastern Mennonite moving up into second, right on the shoulder of his teammate. That's Hayden, Matthew Hayden, taking over the lead around 2:18 for the 800. As he'll have 700 meters to go, followed closely by Dawson Woodruff of Southern Virginia. The gentlemen will have 600 meters to go once they hit this marker. 600 right now as these gentlemen, we'll see what happens in these later stages of the race, but we have Matthew Hayden of Lynchburg, Woodruff of Southern Virginia, as well as Emmanuel of Eastern Mennonite. So 2 Eastern Mennonite and Matthew Hayden of Lynchburg, 1, 2, 3. You hear the Lynchburg teammates cheering on Matthew Hayden as he's going to have about a quarter left. It's Bellamy Emmanuel and Dawson Woodruff of Eastern Mennonite still in 2-3. Matthew Hayden still leading. He's going to have about 300 meters to go. That's Bellamy Emmanuel, followed closely by his teammate Dawson Woodruff. Matthew Hayden still there in third. Going to get himself to a huge PR. That's Dawson Woodruff and teammate Emmanuel, or Bellamy Emmanuel. Eastern Mennonite teammates running 1-2 with Hayden of Lynchburg in third as these men approach the finish. And Woodruff of Eastern Mennonite takes heat 3 of 4. As Woodruff of Eastern Mennonite wins that third section, Hayden of Lynchburg comes in third. Huge PR for him as well. Huge PR for all three of these gentlemen, as well as a lot of the other ones within this heat. Once again, another fantastic race at the Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic. Love seeing these times and these gentlemen PR by huge differentials, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, especially in these 1500s. It's a big thing to come by. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a beautiful evening here, and as the sun starts to set, so I think we'll have a feeling we're going to see a couple more fast times tonight. So just the start as we jump into Heat 4 of the men's 1500, rounding out this 1500. We have Nate Lehman from Eastern Mennonite, Christopher King from Shenandoah, Nick O'Keefe from Longwood, Cannon Green from Shenandoah, Jackson Campbell unattached, Ryan Haymatcher from Roanoke, Matthew Peke, unattached athlete running for the Pacers. Richard Mast, unattached. Logan Decker, from Southern Virginia. Jake Arnold from Patrick Henry. Evan Collins from Roanoke. Turner Jordan from Roanoke. And Brian Marcus from Lewisburg Community College. Rounding out this fourth section of the men's 15. Looks like we may have a couple scratches as there's only looks like there's 10 men in this final section. But the gun is off. Oh, we have a misfire or a false start of some kind. We will be able to figure out what that is shortly as the men walk back to the starting line for the 1500. And second time around, these gentlemen are off in the final section of the men's 1500. Looks like that is Longwood's Nick O'Keefe out front in this third section. That's O'Keefe from Longwood leading this third section. Followed closely by Matthew Perke of the Pacers as these gentlemen approach the first 300 meters around 55 seconds. Once again, another tightly packed 1,500-meter heat. Still, that's Nick O'Keefe from Longwood up front, followed closely by Eastern Mennonite's Nick Lehman. Around 2:35 for that first 800 for these gentlemen, as our unattached athlete moves up onto the shoulder of Nate Lehman from Eastern Mennonite. These men will have 600 meters left within this race. They'll hit the bell the next time they pass the finish line. Looks like that's Jackson Campbell, an unattached athlete, going to hit the bell first, followed closely by Nate Lehman of Eastern Mennonite. That's Jackson Campbell with 300 meters left in this race, followed closely by Nate Lehman. That's Nate Lehman of Eastern Mennonite moving up on the shoulder of our leader, Jackson Campbell, with 200 meters left. Let's see how these men work together in the final 200. That's Nate Lehman of Eastern Mennonite with a huge last 100 meters, powering it into the finish at the moment. And he will take section 4 with a time of 3:38, followed closely by unattached athlete Jackson Campbell in second. And as these rest of these men start to trickle in, that will conclude our 1,500-meter heats, the 4 sections of the 15, as the men start to get warmed up and ready for one of the big ones of the evening. So I know I'm excited for this one. Should be a special one tonight. This is the men's invitational 1 mile. In this heat, we have a whole slew of gentlemen looking to run very, very fast 1 miles. We have Logan Shepard, unattached, Tor Hatung Davidson from Lynchburg, Sam Laneza from Lynchburg, Colin Alexander from UNC Greensboro, Isaac Alfolder of Eastern Mennonite, Nathaniel Fronte from Christopher Newport, Clark Edwards from Christopher Newport, Daniel Ferrante from Christopher Newport. John Vogel from Christopher Newport. Brendan Pritchard, unattached, running for Liberty. Reed Sharkey, unattached. Max Sparks from Lynchburg. Frank Sorba from Lynchburg. And Matthew Bear from Lewisburg Community College. This heat, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely loaded. We have ODAC champions. We have national qualifiers. We have All-Americans in the 15 and the 1,500 meters, 800 meters, and indoor mile. Isaac Alfolder, a indoor qualifier. Sam Laneza, an indoor qualifier. Tor Hatung Davidson, an indoor qualifier. Reed Sharkey, a 5-time ODAC champion, running unattached and former George Mason athlete. Whole slew of athletes today contesting this mile. Looks like we will have a couple pacers in here, ladies and gentlemen, so this will be fantastic. Anybody tuning in from D3 Glory Days, hello. My name is Brennan Straits. I'm a senior on the track and field team, so I'm cheering on my boys, but also trying to commentate as well today. So I'll try not to be biased in the best of my ways, but I'm excited to see what these Lynchburg boys can do today. As I live with them, I run with them every day, so I am excited for this mile, to say the least. Hope you guys are at home, and looks like these gentlemen are getting ready. Not many times we see a mile being contested outdoors, so this is a special one today. There is a 1,500-meter en route camera, but we will see what these men can finish a 1 mile in, so it should be special. Everybody's starting to line the track, lining the building in the new Residence Hall or Westover Hall. The track is absolutely packed. This is a fantastic atmosphere today on Dr. Jack M. Tom's track, a special way to kick off the Dennis Craddock Coaches Classic. And they are underway in this men's invitational 1 mile. And that's Logan Shepard, our unattached athlete, who's going to be pacing these men through. So we'll see how hot he decides to get out and who decides to follow him. Logan Shepard early. There goes Tor Hatung Davidson on the shoulder, moving up on our pacer. These gentlemen are out, ladies and gentlemen. I will try to get you splits as I can. There goes Laneza into third. As they're through the first 200, right around 30, 29 points. So this is exciting. I mean, I've never seen anything like this on Schellenberger Field or my time at Lynchburg. So it's exciting to see a heat of this nature, and we'll see what these gentlemen come through the first quarter in, and I'll try my best to get you splits. So many of these men are coming in with sub-4-minute PRs in the 1,500 as well as sub-420 marks in the full mile. And that's Logan Shepard pacing them through right around 60.59. So these gentlemen are through 409 meters right around that pace. So we'll see. That's Tor Hatung Davidson sitting in second. I'm getting a little excited. I mean, I think my heart rate's probably as high as theirs right now. But I'm jumping up and down here in the press box for these guys, ripping it down there. So that's Tor in second, Sam Lanenza in third, followed by our UNC Greensboro athlete Colin Alexander in fourth. Isaac Alfolder from Eastern Mennonite sitting in fifth. Around 131 through the first 600. We'll see what they come through, about 809 meters right now. People are running back and forth on Schellenberger Field. It's a cool sight, ladies and gentlemen. That's Logan Shepard, our pacer, still doing pacing duties here, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll see what they come through 800 in. They're through around right in 203. So we'll 202, 203. Now pacing's turned over to Tor Hatung Davidson.
His PR coming in right around 417. He's an All-American at 800 meters. Doing a great job leading the way
A
here.
lot of movement here, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes our UNC Greensboro Colin Alexander, as these men will have 600 meters to go. About 235 at 600 meters left. I'll try to get you what they will need for the last 400, but very, very tightly packed. This is anybody's race today. We have our Lewisburg College athlete, Matthew Bear, on the outside as well. Here comes Max Sparks, the 5K specialist as well. Max Sparks on the outside as well. We're in lane 3. Max Sparks takes the lead. This is anybody's race with 1 to go. Sparks going to take the bell around 3:07, 3:06. So may not see a sub 4 today. We're going to need a big close, but definitely we'll see some fast times coming out of this heat. These last 300 meters definitely will produce some sort of fireworks. I'm excited to see as Tor Hutung Davidson steps off doing his duties. There goes Alderfer on the outside. Here comes Sam Laneza on the outside. Sam Laneza and Alderfer, those are two gentlemen that are very, very familiar with racing each other. I guarantee you these last 150 are going to be special, as well as Colin Alexander from UNC Greensboro. And that's Laneza coming off the final curve. Alderfer in second. And it's getting loud, but here comes Alderfer. He's not giving him an inch. And it's going to be Laneza. Woo! 4:06. 4:06.01 officially for Sam Laneza. Isaac Alforder 4:06.33. It's not the 4-minute mark that we all were hoping for today, but nevertheless an amazing race today here in Schellenberger Field. So that was a fun one. It was a fun one to watch. It looked like a fun one to be in for the guys. Looks like we got an official 7 gentlemen under that 4:10 mark. So this is, that was an exciting one to watch. Definitely starting the weekend off on a good note. We see some of the hugs down there for Sam. Always interesting to see a mile being run outdoors, but always a fun environment. Definitely had some of the school out here filling up the field and surrounding the track. So neat to see the student body come and support Sam Laneza and the Lynchburg team, as well as everybody else out here. As Isaac Alforder's on the screen right now being congratulated by teammates. It looks like that's Justice Allen, who also just ran the 15 with him right now. Tor's talking to Coach Jake Reed maybe about his pacing. We'll see what's up, but it was a good day out there. Wow, that was a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. I had to grab a quick drink of water. I kind of lost my voice a little bit on that one. But we'll get set for the men's 5K open section, followed by the women's, and then we will follow that up by another invitational section of the men's 5K later this evening. We have a couple minutes of break right now. But, yeah, definitely a hype race seeing that. Love to see some of the alumni. Reed Sharkey back representing his RDE outfit. Robinson Distance Elite, I believe. So, hyped to see that for Reed as well as the rest of the boys. Huge race for our UNC Greensboro athlete as well as Isaac Alforder and Sam Laneza. So, hopefully some big PRs out of that one. Definitely lived up to the hype. So, hadn't seen an atmosphere like that in a while out here, so it's always a special sight. But as these men get ready for the 5K, I will rejoin them as they get on the line. So thank you. and we're back at Dr. Jack M. Tom's for this first heat of the men's 5,000. So this is the open section of the 5,000 for the folks at home. You can follow along on BlueRidgeTrack.com or BlueRidgeTiming.com for live results and schedule of events, heat sheets, whatever it may be on BlueRidgeTiming.com. But previewing this section, we have 33 men entered in this first section of the 5K. So a packed track tonight as you see the double waterfall or the waterfall being made. These gentlemen will have to stay in the waterfall for the first 100 meters before they'll be able to break in. But previewing this section, I'm definitely going to butcher some names because there's 33 of them and I'm not the best at names, but I'll give it my best. So for the 33 men that we have assembling this open section, we have Clay Kaufman of Eastern Mennonite, Benjamin Glett from Longwood, Ethan Pettyjohn from Longwood, Cian Bell unattached, Matthew Triller unattached, Anthony Cadle from Bridgewater, Kellen Reuter from Southern Virginia, Luke Hawkins from Christopher Newport, Austin Hodge, a Lynchburg alumni, running unattached, Jason Samigo from Christopher Newport, Jacob Gregory from Bridgewater, Tanner Cochran from Randolph, Ethan Hauer from Shenandoah, Jensen Miller from Eastern Mennonite, Timothy Hofstetter from Roanoke, Jay Thompson from Regent University, Siad Khan from Longwood, Patrick Manvell from Shenandoah, Reed Davis from Shenandoah, Caleb Fargo from Shenandoah, Nick Howell from Longwood, Ethan Duncan from Bridgewater, Clayton Stanford from Ferrum, Nathan Yoder from Eastern Mennonite, Tyson Gottschall from Ferrum, Joshua Harden from Liberty Running Club, Juan Riley from Southern Virginia, Ryan Moore unattached, Tyler Smith Shenandoah, Keaton Kemp Southern Virginia, Aaron Scott Randolph, Caleb Hofstetter Eastern Mennonite, and Cameron Bollinger from Roanoke. Those men will assemble our first section of the men's 5K. So find a snack, find a drink, sit down. We have about 15 minutes to watch this first heat of the 5K, and I'll bring you updates as these gentlemen set off for 12.5 laps of the oval at Dr. Jack M. Tom's track. So always a fun one to run. I miss this event a lot. Always as the lights on the new dormitory pop on, we know it's going to be an evening under the lights. So all the lights starting to come out here on Schellenberger Field as the sun starts to set, and it's an evening for 5Ks. It's an evening for 10Ks, distance events. So a lot of these men already, this pack's getting strewned out, kind of going to start going single file here soon as they come through the first quarter around 76 seconds. We'll see what these gentlemen are kind of aiming through as we kind of get a better idea as they hit a K. That kind of will give a good barometer of what kind of pace they're running for this 5-kilometer race. Looks like that's our early leader from Ferrum. That's Clayton Stanford. And that's still our leader, Sanford from Ferrum, followed closely by a whole slew of gentlemen being led by our unattached athlete, Matthew Treller. These gentlemen come through the first 800 around 2:30, so right around 5 flat pace to around 2:32 for our chase pack. And it looks like our entire pack has rejoined each other. As that's our leader, Clay Kaufman, our first seed in this section, taking over the lead. Kaufman's coming in with a 15:44 PR that he ran at the indoor championships this year for the ODAC conference, finishing 6th, I believe. Around 3:09 for the first kilometer. So right around 15:45, 15:40 pace. So yeah, around 15:45, 15:50. So we'll see if these gentlemen can kind of hold on to that as this race progresses. And that's still Clay Kaufman of Eastern Mennonite taking the charge of this train. He's leading these gentlemen through as they'll approach 1 mile as they once they reach the starting line back on that far side again. I'll be able to get you guys the mile split once they reach it. Gentlemen have 9 laps remaining as they pass the finish line at the moment. Little bit of separation from our 2 leaders. That looks like that's Clay Kaufman and our unattached athlete, Matthew Tulel. Little bit of separation from that second pack as these gentlemen approach the first mile. They'll be right above that 5-minute mark, around 5:01, 5:02. That's still Clay Kaufman out front, followed closely by a whole slew of Longwood boys. That looks like that's Benjamin Gillette and Ethan Pettyjohn from Longwood running in that second pack. These gentlemen will be approaching 2 kilometers as they reach the start line. I'll be able to get you guys a 2K split. So they're around 3:09 for the first K. We'll see what they came back around this second K in. So about right on. So about another 3:09 there as they come through on 6:18 for that 2K mark. We'll have a better idea around 3K. A lot of the time with the 5K, you really want to hit that last 2K home, especially that last K is often the hardest part of the race, I found. But these gentlemen, 2 3:09Ks to start off, so we'll see how they treat these next couple laps. But looks like our trio from Longwood has rejoined the leaders. Along with, looks like that's Kellen Reuter from Southern Virginia also in there in that pack as well. Still Clay Kaufman from Eastern Mennonite out front right now. Looks like our pack of 6 has started to separate itself from the field, led by Clay Kaufman. Our trio from Longwood and our unattached athlete, Matthew Tuller. Looks like that's Tuller, our unattached athlete, leading that trio from Longwood as they start to make their way onto his shoulder. Looks like that's still Matthew Tuller out front as he reaches around 2K, around 9:30, 9:29, 9:30 for that kilometer. So a little bit slower than the first two, but we'll see what these gentlemen can come back in these last 2 kilometers. As they will be approaching 2 miles as they reach the start line. At the 3,200 mark, that's around 10:08 for our leader in this open section of the men's 5K. So little over a mile left for these gentlemen. We'll see what they can do in these last 4 laps. They got 4 laps remaining around 10:45. So we'll see if these gentlemen can break under 16. They'll need about a 5:15 last mile. Definitely doable for all 4 of these gentlemen, 5 even. Many of these gentlemen seated under that 16-minute mark, so we'll see how many can dip under. For some of them, it may be their first time. Looks like there's some provisional marks entered in, so we'll see. We'll see if these men can finish up these last 4 laps and hopefully dip under that 16-minute barrier. Be a huge accomplishment if it's their first time. That's still our leader, Matthew Tuller, getting some crowd support as he passes down the home stretch. Got a little bit of a cheering section down there for him. So he has 3 laps remaining. Tuller starting to pick it up a bit as he'll have about a kilometer left. He hits the 4K mark in 12:41. So picked it up back around that 3:10, 3:11 mark for that last kilometer. We'll see what he can close this last K in, but looks like he's rolling. He's starting to pick off some lapped runners. Once again, the cheering section hyping him up as he passes down that final stretch, as he'll have 800 meters left in this open section of the men's 5K. That's Ethan Pettyjohn from Longwood in second. Also will have 800 meters to go. That's still our leader, Matthew Tuller, as he'll have 1 lap remaining. Once again, his hype crowd cheering him on as he passes the press box. So he'll reach the bell around 14:30. That's Ethan Pettyjohn from Longwood, as well as Clay Kaufman from Eastern Mennonite, also hitting the bell lap. Both these men have a very solid chance of getting under that 16-minute barrier. But Tuller's opening it up down that back straight. So he'll have about 200 meters to go in a couple seconds. As Tuller hits 3 miles around 15:08. So about a 5:01 last mile for Tuller. Picked it up after that round, after they came through about 5:10 for that 2 miles. So we'll see what he can close in, as he has about 100 meters left in this race. Tuller with a huge close, takes his first section in 15:40.86. So a huge huge PR for Matthew Tuller. He's coming in with a C time of 15:40 or 15:54. Looks like we'll also get a couple more gentlemen under that 16-minute barrier. Looks like that's Ethan Pettyjohn and Clay Kaufman also under that barrier. Or that's actually Jansen Miller of Eastern Mennonite. Luke Hawkins from Christopher Newport also gets under. Clay Kaufman also gets under. Six gentlemen under that 16-minute barrier in this open section of the men's 5K. As you see on the screen, looks like there's our winner, Matthew Tuller, being congratulated by his cheering squad who made their way down to the finish line. So a lot of support out here on Schellenberger Field. Lovely to see everybody out supporting the track and field program and the unattached athletes around Lynchburg. Many of them either students at Liberty or in graduate school, but lovely to see as we look on the far side, a little away from Ronan Kramer right there, as the Lynchburg boys get ready to warm up for their 5K later this evening. But on the track right now, we have the ladies, or women, the women's open 5K. In this first section, we have 17 entrants, followed by the men's invite section, then the women's invite after that. But in previewing this first section, we have Grace Palerno from Longwood, Mackenzie Foy running unattached for Liberty, Kathy Warner unattached, Kyla McElroy running unattached for Liberty, Camille Carson running unattached for UNC Greensboro, Liz Bauer running unattached, Bella Manfier running for UNC Greensboro, Jenna Weaver for Eastern Mennonite, Lex McGrill from Christopher Newport, Michelle Valchik from Christopher Newport, Isabel Hogg from Christopher Newport, Claire Grassner from Christopher Newport, Ashley Brown from Roanoke, Lauren Brown from Roanoke, Ashley Brewer from Southern Virginia, Sierra Miller from Regent, and Sarah Earl from Bridgewater, rounding out this first section of the women's 5K. As the women break in, that looks to be Ashley Brown of Roanoke taking over our leading duties, followed closely by Kathy Warner. Actually, Kathy Warner is in the lead right now, our unattached athlete as well. Looks like that's Kylie McElroy of Liberty running unattached, taking over the lead as these women have 11 laps remaining in this first section of the women's 5K. Looks like that's still Kathy Warner and Kylie McElroy, as well as Grace Palermo of Longwood, mixing it up front in this women's pack. They've all kind of streamed out single file in this first section of the 5K, working together as they'll have one lap remaining until they reach the mile. And welcome back to Schellenberger Field. Sorry for that delay. I had to run to the bathroom up here in the press box, so I had to run into Hopwood Hall. Might be TMI, but all right. Anyways, these ladies have passed the 2 kilometer mark of this this first heat of the 5,000, as they have 7 laps remaining, so a little bit under 2 miles left in this race. I'll do my best to keep up on the K splits. Got to do a little bit of mental math up here in the box for myself. I'm used to understanding guys splits, so just figuring out all the paces is a little bit different, but I'll do my best to get each split at the kilometer marks for you guys. Looks like these ladies just hit around 2,500 meters, around 9:38. So below that 20-minute pace range for these ladies, around 19-minute pace, 19:10, 19:20. So we'll see what they come back in these next couple of kilometers in, as they have 6 laps remaining. As our pack of 4 ladies have kind of separated their way from the field. Looks like that's 3 unattached athletes, and our our top seed in this heat, Grace Polero from Longwood. Followed closely by Mackenzie Foy of Liberty and Kathy Warner unattached, as well as Kylie McElroy, it looks like. So those 4 have decided to separate themselves from this pack and work together as they have 5 laps remaining in this women's 5K. They hit the 3,000 mark around 11:35, 11:34. And as you see, as they hit that 3K mark, Mackenzie Foy and Kylie McElroy make a definitive move. Both these women running unattached for Liberty. As they'll approach 2 miles or 3,200 meters once they reach the starting line. As these women are through the 3,200 meters, they will have 4 laps remaining, 1 mile as they hit the finish line. As our 3 unattached athletes have broken away from the field. That's Mackenzie Foy, Kathy Warner, and Kylie McElroy. Mackenzie Foy and Kylie McElroy make their way down the finish, or down the front straight. They will have 3 laps remaining. Grace Polio from Longwood still in 4th. two UNC Greensboro athletes working together in 5th and 6th as they all three have 3 laps remaining at the moment. All of these women trying to get under that 20-minute mark, and most of them should do it pretty successfully within these first groupings. Mackenzie Foy and Kylie McElroy both coming in with seed times of 19:15 and 19:30. So we'll have a better idea with about 800 meters to go, about 400 meters to go, how close these women are to reaching their personal best or breaking them even this evening. So it's a wonderful atmosphere out here on Schellenberger Field. Everybody's getting lined up on the shoulder of the track along the walls. So it's great to see everybody out here cheering. It's a good atmosphere for track and field on a Friday night. I know big meets are happening all over the country. Some people might be staying at home watching Mount Sac or Brian Clay, but if you're tuned in for this one, we thank you for jumping on LHSN and watching this instead. There's no pay-per-view, so that's nice. The Mackenzie Voy starts to extend her lead over her teammate as she'll have 2 laps to go, around 16 minutes at the moment. See what this last 800 looks like for Foy. She starts to pick it up a little bit. .600 meters left for Foy. Around 500 at the moment. She starts to open it up. She'll hit the bell as teammate Kylie McElroy is in second. Foy's coming in today with a 19:15 seed time. She has over a minute for this last 300. We'll see if she can get under that 19-minute barrier. Should be a huge PR for Mackenzie Foy.
Opening it up down the back straightaway. Just over 200 meters left to run. Time on the clock is
18:08, 18:09 with 200 meters to go for Mackenzie Foy. Kylie McElroy in second, also with 40 seconds left in the last 200. We'll see what she can put together in this final 200 and potentially dip under as well. It will be a huge PR for Foy, getting under 19 minutes for the very first time, potentially. 18:50. McElroy also closing, also might have a chance. I think she will. And she will. 18:59, also getting under that 19-minute barrier. As you see the two hug at that finish line. Awesome for both these women to get under that 19-minute barrier. Huge close from our UNC Greensboro athlete. As the rest of these women start to make their way in, we see some huge kicks down the final straightaway. A lot of these women trying to break that 20-minute barrier. And welcome back to the men's invite 5K section. Once again, a crowded field today in this 5K. 27 entrants ranging from 14:22 to 15:34. So look for some fireworks in the later stages of this race as well. So previewing this race, we have Frank Sorba of Lynchburg, Max Sparks of Lynchburg, both doubling back off the 1500. Dylan Christopher from UNC Greensboro, Michael Zefferson from UNC Greensboro, Joseph Toma from UNCG, Thomas Kepsfield from UNC Greensboro, Brian Flynn, also a Lynchburg alumni, running unattached, Jonathan Cobb from Lynchburg, Connor McCroy from Lynchburg, Corbin Green from Lynchburg, Cooper Hirsch from Lynchburg, Luke Miller from Christopher Newport, Diego Kobas from Christopher Newport, Eric Speeney from Christopher Newport, Bryce Davis from Lynchburg, Nicholas Toloshchik from Christopher Newport, Jamie Heigl running unattached, Cooper Niebel from Roanoke, Drew Tinbolt unattached, Trey Jarrell unattached, Ronan Creamer from Lynchburg, Sam Graham from Lynchburg, Andrew Hawk running unattached, also a Lynchburg alum, Chamberlain Zuloff from Roanoke, Sam Lloyd Burks running unattached, Peter Smith from Roanoke, and Austin Moliar from also running unattached. So 27 men in this fast section. So we'll see how fast these gentlemen decide to get out, and I'm excited for this section. A lot of Lynchburg boys in here, definitely ready. These boys are ready to have a big race. A lot of them looking to break that 15-minute barrier is kind of the one that a lot of these gentlemen are hunting for within this race. So it's going to be a great field tonight. A lot of these guys coming in with PRs around that 15 flat to 15:10 range, with a couple already under. So we'll see how many can dip under that 15-minute barrier within this heat. It looks like Frank Sorba is out front pacing these boys, followed closely by Corbin Green and a whole slew of UNC Greensboro boys. Looks like that's Dylan Christopher from UNCG taking. Looks like a little laughs being shared between these boys as they start to get out. They're about 144 through the first 600 meters. I'll be able to get the 800 split as they come around this far corner. A lot of these guys are looking for around 440 pace, 440 between 440 and 450 through the mile, and are already through in 220, 219. So they're out. So we'll see what they come through this first kilometer in, and we'll have a better gauge from that. Looks like there's already a bit of a split between Chamberlain, Zuloff, and that next pack being led by Jamie Heigl. We'll see if Jonathan Cobb can creep back up onto one of these packs or lead this second group. It's kind of in no man's land at the moment, but everybody's getting in single file line, getting in position. They'll come through the 1K in around 2:54 as the rest of this group comes through around 3 minutes. So perfect on pace for around 15 flat. Definitely looking to cut down in these final stages of this race. So we'll see. It looks like Frank Sorba is taking the Lynchburg duties for the boys up front. Max Sparks is taking the boys trying to dip right under 15. So both these All-Americans in their own right in the 5K and 10K coming back to help some teammates. So we'll see how many guys can get under. But looks like UNCG is putting up a clinic up front, running 1, 2, 3, and 4. Looks like they came in here with a mission to see how fast they can run. So we'll see if anybody bunches up in the later stage of these races. But a lot of team tactics at the moment, it's looking like. So that's still Dylan Christopher of UNCG taking his 3 teammates behind him. They'll be through the first mile after this next 200. As we see, we have a UNCG grouping of 3, and Sorba leading, Corbin Green, Connor McCroy, and Chamberlain Zuloff of Roanoke. So the ODAC working together and hopefully get all 3 of these gentlemen under 15 for the first time, all set up for huge PRs today. So they're coming through the mile around 4:42, 4:43. The UNCG gentlemen through a little bit under 4:40, so everybody else is dragging through right now. The rest of the field comes through around 4:50. For that second pack, the entire field is through in sub 5 minutes, which is a pretty neat thing to see in a 5K. Not many times you see this whole race running that tightly. Everybody's separated by less than 20 seconds. You see UNC Greensboro's pack. Through 2K, a lot of these men under that 15-minute barrier as the rest of this group comes through right at around 6 minutes. So about 2:55 through our leaders for the first 2K. So around 14:30 pace for these gentlemen. We'll see how much they pick it up in these later stages of the race. Frank Sorba leading this second group. Corbin Green, Connor McCroy, and Chamberlain Zuloff of Roanoke. Jamie Heigl and Drew Tinbalt making their way back up to these gentlemen. Both of those gentlemen, outstanding runners in their own right. Jamie Heigl coming off a 50-35 10-miler at the Cherry Blossom 10-miler in D.C. Drew Tinbalt won the steeplechase in 9:16 at our first home meet a couple weeks ago. So looks like these gentlemen will, in these next couple laps, are getting right on the shoulder of Frank Sorba's group. So we'll see what will happen in the later stages of the races. But everybody's working together with their packs, and it's fun to see.
Croy comes in with a 15:51.25. So looking solid here in the early goings. UNC Greensboro out front. They're going to hit the halfway point here at 2,500 meters. They come through at 7:16. So that's 14:32 pace if it's even across the board. These guys have been flipping off 69 70s here in the early goings.
And it looks like Heigl and Tinball have both connected back to Corbin Green. Looks like pacer Frank Sorba has already stepped off. As this next group keeps working. And it looks like our UNCG boys are down to 4. Clearly separated themselves, trying to run that 14:30 pace, 14:40. Men will have 5 laps remaining as they reach this next mile, so we'll be able to figure out what their 3K split is here soon. These last 2K will be huge for a lot of these gentlemen, as we'll start to see a lot of movement through this last 2K, especially in the later stages of these races. Connor McCroy of Lynchburg makes a move on that second pack as he'll lead that second pack through 3K. All these men sub 9 through 3 kilometers, around 8:54, 8:55 for this second group as they come through 3K. Bryce Davis, Cooper Hurst, and Jonathan Cobb also around in 9:04. UNCG will be around 9:20 through 2 miles for their 3 men right there. 9:17, actually 9:18. Gentlemen from UNCG are going to be approaching 1 mile remaining. That's Dylan Christopher of UNCG leading these men through with 4 laps remaining. As he steps off, leaves it to the rest of his boys. He was coming in with the 14:30 personal best, trying to get a lot of his teammates around the same time. Connor McCroy, Jamie Heigl, Drew Tinball, Chamberlain Zuloff, also all 3 working in that second group as they all have 1 mile remaining. So the rest of this field has 1 lap or 1 mile left. They're coming through right now. So we're down to 2 leaders. Michael Zefferson from UNCG, Joseph Toma, and Thomas Kepshield. The 3 UNCG athletes working well up front together. And look, that is Michael Safirson and Joseph Toma. They have 3 laps remaining, both of them working well together at the moment. In the race behind them, Connor McCroy, Drew Thinball, and Jamie Heigl all working well together as they'll have 3 laps remaining. our UNCG gentlemen working well together as they'll approach 800 meters remaining. That's Michael Safirson and Joseph Toma. 800 meters left to run as they'll hit 800 meters left at around 2:12 or 12:11. 12:11.
Setting himself up for a big PR here. He's got 800 meters left.
800 meters left for the second group as well. That's Safirson and Toma coming into 1 lap remaining. They'll start to navigate some lap traffic as they hit the bell lap. Both of these gentlemen might have an amazing shot at getting under 14:30 if they close hard this last lap. They only will need a 70 as they hit the bell at 13:20. Looks like that's Safirson up front. Or, correct me, I think that's Joseph Toma. Let's see how many men we can get under that 15-minute barrier. Athlete from UNCG swinging wide. Joseph Toma of UNCG bringing it home. Huge last lap. We're going to absolutely smash 14:30. Toma's going to take 14:2. Woo! Safirson also getting under 14:30. Let's see how many other gentlemen can get under that 15-minute barrier. Drew T-Ball unattached. Jamie Heigl coming in. Connor McCroy. He's going to get it. He will also get under that 15-minute barrier. As the rest of the gentlemen in this race start to get in under that 15:30 barrier.
It looks like some great times and PRs for the guys from Lynchburg.
As the rest of the field starts to make their way in. We'll see the results start to populate up on the board. Haven't quite got them yet, but once they start to get up there, we'll be able to share them with you all.
And an excellent men's 5,000 invitational section. Couldn't ask for better weather for it.
As we start to see the results populate on the screen, your winner, that's Joseph Toma from UNCG, with an absolutely amazing last lap, runs 14:22. As we start to see the results populate, looked like we got 5 or 6 gentlemen under that 15-minute barrier as the women's invitational section gets on the line right now. As you start to see the ladies entered in that start to populate on your screen. Previewing this section, we have Stephanie Burnett, Kayla Warner, Caitlin Audrey, Logan Waldron, Ariana Garcia, May Sovey, Shay Suckup, Chandler McCassin, Allison Dell, Sarah James, Bailey Reed, Sasha Willie, Grace Irvey, Jessie Zeeland, Maddie Rawlings, Libby Miles, and Maggie Ralston. So keep an eye out for Kayla Warner and Stephanie Burnett up front. Kayla Warner is a Foot Locker or East Bay qualifier, as well as the New Balance Indoor Mile Champion, or had a fantastic season, and New Balance this indoor season as well. She's competing unattached for the Pacers, and she will be attending Liberty University next year. Stephanie Burnett for Lynchburg, your indoor 5K qualifier, coming in with the 17:08 personal best. Not sure if she's going to be pacing these women or racing this evening, but we will find out shortly. And we're off in this women's invite 5 kilometer. Stephanie Burnett and Kayla Warner already out front. Stephanie Burnett comes through in 38 seconds. So pretty quick first 200 meters. So we'll see what these ladies settle into pace-wise, but be ready for a quick race out front. Stephanie Burnett and Kayla Warner still out front in this ladies 5K as they'll approach 600 meters. Stephanie Burnett taking Warner through in around 2 minutes for this first 600. We'll be able to see what these ladies come through in 800 in a second. Looks like that's Allison Dell leading the second pack of UNCG, Lynchburg, and CNU women. I see Burnett and Warner start to really separate themselves from that second chase pack. About 2:41 for that first 800 as this second pack starts to meet 800 meters as well. These ladies will come through around 250, 252 for this second group. as we look back to Warner and Stephanie Burnett. Coming through that first 1 kilometer in around 3:21.
Looking at that first 1K split, that's about a 16:45 pace.
Warner and Burnett still out front, working well together. As we start to see this second pack being led by some women from University of North Carolina in Greensboro, followed closely by 2 athletes from Christopher Newport, Allison Dell and Sarah James, also in there as well from Lynchburg. So mixing it up, inter-division, inter-conference, some coast-to-coast conference, some Division I institutions in Greensboro and University of Lynchburg all running together. But back up front, it's Warner and Burnett going 1-2. Nine laps remaining for these ladies. That's Ariana Garcia from UNCG leading that second pack, followed closely by Caitlin Audrey and Logan Wadger from Christopher Newport in second in that fifth and sixth position. Sorry, I had to do a little bit of mental math there. Kind of got lost on the track for a second. It's neat to see all these ladies working together. 2 UNCG women, 2 Christopher Newport women, 2 Lynchburg women, all running together. As these women approach 1,600 meters. They're all coming through that second pack around 5:45, 5:46 for that second pack. But still up front, that's Burnett and Warner absolutely hammering it. As we see the second pack start to make their way down the straightaway, it looks like that's Caitlin Audrey from Christopher Newport leading that second pack. 2 CNU, 2 UNCG, 2 Lynchburg. Teammates working together. It's neat to see that. And Stephanie Burnett now steps off at 2K, leaving it to our leader, Kayla Warner, for the final 3 kilometers of this race. Turning back to the other group in the race, Caitlin Audrey passes 3 kilometers for that second group around that 7:09, 7:08 mark for those ladies. So we see the 2 CNU women working together up front, followed closely by the 2 women from UNCG. Kayla Warner still with a commanding lead as she comes down the home stretch. Yes, one again. Smooth and confident for her. Has had a fantastic high school career and will be continuing her collegiate career at Liberty University next fall. Excited to see what she does there, as she has 6 laps remaining. Next time around, she will be at 3,000 meters. Little bit of separation from our second pack as we see Caitlin Audrey and Logan Waldron from CNU start to separate a little bit, but it looks like Ariana Garcia from UNCG is still with them. Those three have kind of solidified themselves in second, third, and fourth at the moment, working to get under that 18-minute barrier in this women's invite section. A lot of these women also seated under that 18-minute barrier, so we'll see what they can do as Kayla Warner is now approaching 3,000 kilometers. Just over 10 minutes for Kayla Warner at 3K. That's astounding. She's going to go to 3K at around 10:06. That is phenomenal. That would score or win most conference meets within most institutions within Division III and D1. Kayla's had a fantastic high school career, and I'm excited to see what she does tonight, the rest of this race, as well as over the next couple of years. Garcia, Audrey, and Warden are all almost through 3 kilometers at the moment, around 10:35 for those 3 ladies right now. As Kayla Warner, she's coming through 3,200 meters in 10:45. Kayla Warner is now approaching 4 laps to go for her as the second pack starts to splinter a little bit. That looks like that's Caitlin Audrey and Ariana Garcia separating themselves from Waldron a little bit on that backstretch. Both of these women coming in with seed times of 17:35 and 17:45. We'll see what these 3 ladies get to do over these last couple laps, as all 3 of them will have 1 mile to go as well. As you see right now, Kayla Warner just extending her lead, navigating through lap traffic at the moment, as she's a little under 4.5 laps remaining, which is
on the dot with 4 laps left to run.
Two ladies from Lynchburg, Allison Dell and Sarah James, coming through with 4 laps to go in under 12:20. As we see Kayla Warner coming down the front stretch again.
Coming up on 3 laps left to run.
3 laps to go for Kayla Warner.
12:45 with 3 laps remaining.
Three laps remaining for both Audrey and Garcia as they hit the finish line at around 13:20, around 13:24 for these women. But as you look up on your screen, Kayla Warner has hit 1K to go. We'll see how far under 17 minutes Kayla Warner can get, as she'll have 800 meters to go once she hits the finish line. As we see on the backstretch right now, that's Audrey and Garcia working together in second and third. They'll have a K left at the moment as well. They're coming in 800 meters to go. So we'll see how far these women can get under 18. As Audrey starts to distance herself from Garcia a little bit. Ariana Garcia is not given an inch, though, as she starts to creep back on Garcia's shoulder, or Audrey's shoulder, as they'll hit 800 meters to go as well. Kayla Warner, though, with 600 meters to go, she made 200 meters of a gap on second and third.
Still a great shot to be under that 17:40 mark for the ladies running 2-3. Allison Dell and Sarah James of Lynchburg with 2 laps to go. They hit it at 15:12.
As Kayla Warner's approaching the bell, we'll see what she can do on this last lap.
The unattached runner going to Liberty next year. She's coming up.
As she's going to hit the bell at about 15:30.
She's going to hit it at 15:30 with 1 to go.
We'll see how far under 17 she can get. She needs a 90 to break 17. I think she can absolutely do that. As she starts to open it up a little bit, she'll come into 300 meters left in this 5K.
A big time coming here for Werner as she hits the back straightaway. Time on the clock is 15:52.
Caitlin Audrey also put on a little bit of a surge over that last 600 meters, distancing herself from Ariana Garcia a little bit as she hits the bell. She'll hit the bell lap around 16:13, 16:14. Hope to get under that 17:30 mark for Audrey. As we turn back to Kayla Warner, we see her coming off that final corner. Allison Dell and Sarah James, also from Lynchburg. They're going to have about 90 seconds as well to get up to the 18-minute mark. But look at Warner. 16:45, 16:44 for Kayla Warner. Absolutely amazing performance for the high school athlete. But as we turn our attention back to the backstretch, Caitlin Audrey's opening up with 200 meters left.
Caitlin Audrey of Christopher Newport, less than 150 to go now. Time on the clock, 17:10. Audrey comes in with
Caitlin Audrey's coming down with 100 meters left. So we see Garcia coming in right now.
way under her personal best, 17:20.
Audrey's coming in at the moment. Audrey will also get under, hopefully, 32, 33. As we see Garcia coming in as well in a second.
Closing it down strong.
See how many women, the Lynchburg women as well, looking like they'll also get under 18 minutes. Allison Dell and Sarah James, as well as CNU athlete.
Under 18 minutes here,
Woo!
17:56.
All of them sneak under that 18-minute barrier.
Holy smokes, Allison Dell and Sarah James.
They came from way back. It was an awesome second half of the race for both of those ladies, getting under that 18-minute barrier for the very first time as freshmen. As you see a lot of the Lynchburg squad coming down there. Absolutely amazing races from Kayla Warner, Caitlin Audrey, and Ariana Garcia, as well as Logan Waldron also gets under that 18-minute barrier for CNU, so it looks like we got 6 women under that 18-minute barrier as the rest of these women start to trickle in the invite section of the 5K. Another huge 5-kilometer race at Schellenberger Field on Jack M. Tom's. Never stops, and we'll have action again starting tomorrow morning at 12 starting with the 4x1s and then getting into the sprints. We'll have, for your distance folk, we do have the 800 and the steeplechase tomorrow, but the rest of our short sprints will be highlighted with an invite section of the men's 100 as well. So excited to see the rest of the teams come out tomorrow. And, I'm excited for another day of track and field. But we do have one more race coming up for you guys this evening, and it's going to be a combined 10-kilometer race for the men and the women, which will hopefully go off in the next couple minutes as we see the rest of these ladies in the invite section start to trickle in. But that will conclude our 5 kilometers for this evening. as we turn back to our final event of the evening, it's the combined gender 10-kilometer race. In this heat, we have Zach Mizuno from Eastern Mennonite, Abe Knight from Bridgewater. As well for the women, we have Emily Miller from Shenandoah, Allison Shelley from Eastern Mennonite, Madeline Lotz from Shenandoah, Hannah Hale from Shenandoah, Erin Atkinson from Shenandoah, Nicely Woodward from Bridgewater, Sarah Christie from Shenandoah, Harper Dillon from Hollins, and Allison Sarver from Roanoke. Wrapping out our mixed gender 10-kilometer race and our final event for the evening. So 25 laps for these ladies and gentlemen as they make their way around Dr. Jack M. Tom's track. So we see our leaders working together for the men as Emily Miller leads the women